This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome to the Bass Kayak and Beer segment on the Paddle and Fin Network. It's your host Armondo Sola, and on this segment we kick back with a special guest and talk about life, kayak fishing, and the pursuit of big bass. So get your cold brews on and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Bass Kayak and Beers. It's your host Armando, and got big news for you today. It's the Bass Kayak and Beers on the Paddle and Fin. Drum roll. What? We got Brian Schiller.
You forgot your last name, Sola.
Sola. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I sit there and practice that every night. Sola.
That's creepy.
Am I Puerto Rican yet?
You are, Papi Chulo.
I love it, man. What's happening?
We are the Bass Kayak and Beers segment on the Paddle and Fin
Podcast Network. I like it, man. I like it. You
excited?
Like
I'm excited. I am assuming my listeners listening to my podcast are totally confused what's going on. First of all, hope everybody had a great weekend. Lots of great stuff going on this weekend. Congratulations to Ross Snyder for winning the OBBOS on the Mississippi River. On a more somber note, I read a couple of articles today. I guess a few people, unfortunately, lost their lives this over the weekend. Boating incidents. I think an actress from a TV show Glee was found. Her body was found. And I think Josh Elders was it not Josh Elders? Who was it that was fishing in Chicago?
No, in
Illinois.
Susie was finishing the bracket tournament for the Paddle and Fin podcast. That was live on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. And like in the last 15 minutes, I guess, because I had to jump off early because I was helping host with Josh. I had to jump off early to go to work. But you could hear a bunch of sirens in the background. Yeah. And Susie said it lasted for about a half hour. And then they sent in Flight for Life. It was a helicopter. And it ended up being, there was two older gentlemen in their 60s out fishing. I believe they were on a pontoon boat. The one guy fell off, and the guy was trying to steer the boat back to him. The guy went under. He jumped off the boat to try and save his friend. The guy was unresponsive. They held onto the trolling motor, and the guy got him back to shore and then called 911, and it was just too late. Neither of them were wearing PFDs.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with the gal from Glee.
The Glee, not your River. I apologize. I forgot the first name, but it's an actress from Glee. That was really, man, that was really sad. They found the boat drifting for I don't know how many, 1 or 2 days, and her son, 5-year-old son, sleeping on the boat. When they got to the boat, they asked him about her mom. He says, "My mom lifted me to get back on the boat because we were swimming. When I looked back, she was gone." So something happened. She lifted her son to get inside the boat, and she never got into the boat herself. And then they found her body today. That was Wednesday.
And where was this at?
I forgot. I just briefly read the article.
Was it saltwater or freshwater?
No, it was a lake. I briefly read the article, but I forgot where it was. So anyways, man, I actually had we had an incident. I was fishing on the Slay Nation tournament fishing this weekend, and there was a guy had an old school kayak. I think it was a Jackson kayak. He had it spray painted over it, and he had a makeshift trolling motor on it, and something happened. It was taking in water. He jumped into the water and started swimming, and while dragging his kayak, the hull was half full of water. So he was trying to save his kayak while swimming to shore. I saw it and I started pedaling. By the time I got to him, I was about a football field away from him. Thankfully, he was underneath a highway bridge, so he was no wind, no current, so he made it to the shore underneath the bridge. But he didn't even have a PFD on his kayak.
Wow.
And I guess, yeah, my point to all this, and I know it started off on a sad note, is for those out there listening, please, for the love of God, please just wear a PFD. At the very least, have it with you on your kayak.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a firm believer in it should be on your body, and we could go, that's a whole nother topic, argument, whatever. But I mean, PFDs save lives, how many of these accidents just this weekend alone could have been prevented had the folks in play been wearing a PFD, I don't know, man. I think it should be a requirement to yourself to ensure that no matter what happens, you're getting back to your loved ones. That's the least you can do for them. I'm sure this guy, like in Central Illinois, the guy that survived, he's going to be traumatized for the rest of his life because he lost his buddy. It's like, who knows what actually happened to make the incident occur, or what happened. Maybe the guy was standing on the front of the boat and the guy hit the trolling motor the wrong way and the guy was thrown off balance and ended up in the water or something. Like, that guy will never forgive himself. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's just PFDs save lives. And like I always say in seminars and speeches and podcasts that I do, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And you just never know when that time's going to be. And if you don't have it, and, I've heard guys say, well, I'll just swim back to my kayak. Yeah, well, have fun doing that and falling out in a thick weed mat where you can hardly move and things like that, So I don't know, but yeah, anyways.
Yeah. Well, it's not the way we want to start the show, obviously.
We're supposed to be happy.
Supposed to be happy, but I guess turn the situations that happen into something that helps other people maybe save their lives. Anyways, we are excited. We are excited about the big news. Brian, you want to tell the news? Should I tell the news? What's going on? You're the boss.
Well, I mean, this was your decision. But ever since you and I did a podcast together, you had me on your show, and then I had you on my show, and I've been kind of following along with what you've been doing. I haven't listened to every episode. Guilty as charged.
Get out.
But I've listened to quite a few, man, and I just like the mode of thinking and questioning, and the way you go about your interviews and stuff. And we had some open time slots. We had some things change up at Paddle and Fin. And, when we started adding segments on, our goal was to be 7 days a week eventually. So now, we had some gaps and we wanted to fill those holes. So I just thought it made sense, man. And, I gave you a phone call, and you and I have become kind of pretty good friends, I would say.
Compadres.
I consider you familia. And we've been talking quite a bit about various things, and I told you, if you ever need anything or have any questions, feel free to reach out, and you definitely took advantage of that. I mean that in a good way.
Didn't take advantage of Brian, just
but and the more I've gotten to know you and things like that, I felt like you would fit into our dysfunctional family known as Paddle and Fin, and I think it's going to be cool, man. It's exciting, and the one thing I mentioned to you is like, I'm not trying to control like your subject content or the way you create your content. I still want you to do your show just exactly the same way you've always done it. And, obviously we all have, over time we make slight changes and things to make the show better. But that's entirely up to you. But then also what's really cool is you brought up a suggestion and an idea to me, because I had asked you, like, are you going to be wanting to do both of your segments like you normally do now? Or do you want to just do one? Like, the option's yours. And you were like, well, I've had this idea and I want to pitch it to you. And it's doing an episode in Spanish. Which I thought was a phenomenal idea. And what I didn't know, and a lot of us at Paddle and Fin didn't know, is there's like a whole kayaks fishing series down in Mexico that's very much like KBF. And I was like, dude, like, let's be honest, some folks that speak Spanish don't understand English fully. And trust me, dude, I mean, I know a lot of bad words in Spanish, but that's about it. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. And so I thought it was cool, man. It brings more people in. I think it's going to help grow the community, not just here at home in the United States, but globally. I mean, Spanish is a huge language. And, after you pitched it, I was like, I don't know, like, I guess. And then I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, dude, this is killer, dude. I'm super stoked for it. But yeah, man, we'll do that one. So the schedule, those listening on the Paddle and Fin podcast right now, typically on Wednesdays, we would have every other week would be Susie Roloff, Adventures of Outdoor Woman segment, or the Wednesdays that she wasn't on, it'd be Dustin Nichols, the Chasing the Tide saltwater segment. So what we've done is we're putting you in the Wednesday slot because you're going to do your normal episode every Wednesday. And then Susie's going to be on every other Saturday with JP, who's every other Saturday as well with Off the Water. And then Dustin's going to be every other Sunday. And then the Sundays he's not on, that's when we're going to do the Habla Español episode, so I think it's cool, man. I'm super stoked. I think, like I said, the way you do your interviews is pretty killer and very informative. And I love your mode of questioning. And it's always educational too. Like, that's one thing, man. Like, I'll be the first to admit, in the words of my good friend and co-host Jay Randall, I'm just a hack, bro. I don't know everything about fishing, and I think nobody does. Fishing is a
maybe Ross Snyder, but other than that,
learning thing. And so I love hearing different points of views and different angles and things like that, and that's kind of why we've had so many different segments, and we do 7 days a week at Paddle and Fin. There's always the storytelling aspect, but the learning aspect is I think what really draws into the community we've kind of created and we're expanding on. And I think the angles that you approach thing is going to be very cool. And I think not only your audience, but our audience as well are gonna love what you bring to the table, man. So
I appreciate it, man.
Long drawn out, you know.
It was perfect.
I mean, what are your thoughts, man? I mean, you know, I know you were hesitant at first, so like maybe talk about that, because I know you were like, I don't know, you know, let me think about it, and there was no pressure there, you know. I said, dude, don't worry about it, take your time. But I think that's something you should address and talk about, especially to your audience that listens to you on a regular basis, man.
Awesome. So, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I'm honored.
I'll send you an
I love it. There might be some listeners confused. Okay, so let's explain. This episode is going to air on my podcast, Bass Kayak and Beers, and on Paddle and Fin. It's going to be my inaugural podcast on Paddle and Fin. So I wanted to do an announcement for my listeners. First of all, thank you to all my listeners. The podcast, especially in the last month, has grown incredibly. The audience just grow each episode. I get more and more listeners. As most of you know, I don't get money out of this. There's no monetary value for it. I just love to talk about kayak fishing. I just love to share information. I just love the kayak fishing community. And I want to be involved in this as much as I can, you know, considering everything else that goes on in my life that takes priority. When you first brought up the idea, I was super honored because you guys are my inspiration for the podcast. You know, I would always listen to your podcast, all the segment, Fishing for Noobs, the OG show, Chasing the Tide, Adventures of an Outdoors Woman, and I loved it. And that's one of the things that got me into, you know, doing a podcast. And I love it. I'm super proud of it. It was bittersweet to make that decision because, for one thing, like I mentioned, I watch my podcast just grow every week. Something that I did not expect when I started off to be growing this fast. So thank you to my listeners for that. As far as what this means, it just means a web link that you're going to link to. That's all it is. That's what I struggled the most because, like I said, I love this podcast. I love this mic. I love doing this. I love talking to people. And I didn't want to lose that identity. I didn't feel, at first I was like, well, am I selling out? You know, but it really isn't. It's just a hyperlink that you're gonna click into to listen to my podcast. It's gonna be the same exact podcast. Granted, it's not gonna be titled The Real Life. We're gonna be titled Bass Kayak and Beers, just like the name of my podcast. My social media is gonna still be active. This, for me, gives me more free time to focus on making videos and doing other stuff to grow the social media, both for Paddle and Fin and for Bass Kayak and Beers. The content is going to be pretty much the same. I am not going to be doing the kayak fishing 101 because Ryan Milford does an amazing job with the Fishing for Noobs. So I thought that was going to be, two shows a week of the same thing. It didn't feel like it was making the most out of it. So one thing that I always wanted to do, and some of my listeners know, I'm from Puerto Rico. My first language is Spanish. You know, that's where I grew up talking. So I've always wanted to make a podcast in Spanish. And I'm not just going to be me. It's going to be my co-host, Saul Ventura, which, if you heard my podcast, is so about the third episode. Saul is a hammer when it comes to saltwater kayak fishing down there in the Caribbean. So it's a great feat because me and Saul go back a long time. We're surfing buddies back in the days in Puerto Rico. He's a hammer in saltwater fishing. I'm decent in freshwater fishing. So we get both aspects of kayak fishing. We're going to focus on not just freshwater bass, but also saltwater. We're going to be bringing in people from Spain, people from Mexico. We're going to try to focus also on the tournament anglers for Iron Kayaker. We're going to be just diving into all things kayak fishing, but in Spanish. And that's going to be like every other Sunday, like we talk about. So I'm pretty excited about that. So
I'm
again,
for that, man.
Yeah, and I thank you for the opportunity, man. That's it's bittersweet just to kind of like feel like that now I'm no longer having my platform, but it's a great opportunity to reach more people.
Sure.
It's a great opportunity for me to collaborate with a great group of people, guys and girls: Susie Roloff, Josh Smith, Jim Skinner, Dan Perry. I mean, the list goes on and on. You guys have a great family. I love it. I've talked to pretty much. I think I haven't talked to Josh Eldridge yet, but I've listened to his podcast. Great stuff. So I'm excited to be part of that family and to do what I can to help Paddle and Fin grow their brand and bring great content. It makes it easier for me when I'm with you with that Paddle and Fin family to get more people to come up to the show. That's a reality. You're probably the biggest kayak fishing podcast out there. I can't imagine anybody coming close. I don't know the numbers of listeners but I know you guys are the best at it. That's my opinion.
Sure. Right on. I dig it, man. I dig it.
So I don't know. I went long-winded there too.
We both do that, so that's good. It burns up time. But no, man. So next Wednesday kicks off the start of like the actual kicking back up of your show on Paddle and Fin. And dude, we're super stoked to have you as part of the familia. And we're looking forward to it, man. I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's going to be awesome to watch you kind of grow even further and get you some good opportunities all across the board, which is super cool. Super cool. I mean, if you look at, like you mentioned, Ryan Milford or like Brad Hicks, some of our guys who, started out and were very green and look at where they've come, on their whole journey from, joining up with Paddle and Fin. It's cool to see, man. But that was like one of the big takeaways, like you touched on, was like you were worried about losing your identity, and because the way I look at it is like people think Paddle and Fin, like my name and face usually comes first because I'm the guy that founded it. Just like when I think of Bass Kayak and Beers, oh, that's Armando, Mm-hmm. But I try to not to steer away from that, man, because we're a collaboration of like-minded anglers, just trying to educate and spread the word and show people how awesome kayak fishing is. So I never look as Paddle and Fin as me. I look at it as all of us. So that's why, like I told you, like, let's keep the name of your segment as Bass Kayak and Beers, man. That's how you started out. Why switch it up now, So I'm super glad you decided to do that, because I think that was key. So yeah, man. I mean, we're stoked to have you, and
thank you.
Looking forward to all the new opportunities that you bring to the table, with being able to hit a whole different demographic with, the Spanish episode and everything along those lines, man.
It's exciting times for me, and it's again, thank you to my listeners. First of all, if you guys out there, you guys are what make this possible. You guys are the ones that are opening the opportunity for me to grow, and hopefully by growing, I won't forget about you guys. I'm going to bring better content. I'm going to have access to more big names that can come up to the show. Just a reminder, the podcast is going to be focused a lot upon kind of like the same segment that I have, the real life, which is just life in general, and how kayak fishing plays life in each one of those people that love and have a passion for kayak fishing. So that's not going to change. That's going to be the same thing. And, I'm excited. I'm excited to bring that to Paddle and Fin, and hopefully it's going to be a good fit, and it's going to be something. I know it's going to be a good fit, but it's something that I'm looking forward to it. I'm super excited about it. Like I said, I just listen to you guys, and I always love the chemistry that you have on your shows, and that family ambience that you guys have on Paddle and Fin. So, I don't want to overhype it, but it kind of is like, man, it's kind of like
man.
It's exciting, like a achievement that I wasn't expected to make. So certainly not this early into my career podcast.
For sure, man. And for your listeners, like basically whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on right now, you can just search Paddle, the letter N, and Fin, and you will find our podcast where all Armando's episodes will be uploaded on Wednesday mornings. It's going to be killer, man.
And the Angler app too, right?
Yeah, Angler app, you'll see it, and that has a direct link to our YouTube channel. You could either find like the actual video portions on the Angler app or on YouTube, Paddle, the letter N, and Fin. So we try to hit as many avenues as possible, so anyone and everyone can find it and either watch and or listen. And man, spread the love as much as we can.
Yeah, definitely. By the way, congratulations to Bailey Eichbrett. He's doing a live show today, 100th episode. That's another guy that inspired me with my podcast. Congratulations to Bailey Eichbrett. I know he's going live on YouTube with his 100th episode.
As soon as I get done here, I'm going to be on there too. So.
Oh yeah, you're going to be on that show?
Yeah,
awesome.
He asked me to come on for like 10-15 minutes, so I'm going to jump on there. I know he's got a bunch of guests lined up, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So, but
awesome, man. Whenever you
but a huge shout out to Bailey. Good dude. 100 episodes, man. That's a good milestone to finally hit, for sure. I think this is going to be just for this year, because we start a new season at the beginning of every year, and so this episode we're recording now will be episode number 144 for 2020. So that's how much content we put out.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to Dark Waters. I'm your host, Josh.
What was that? Would you shut that up, please?
I accidentally hit play on that guy. That'll be episode. This will be episode 144 on the Paddle and Fin podcast network. So we pump out quite a few episodes. Yep. Obviously, it's roughly right around 300 episodes a year now, the way we're going, if not more, just because we're back to being at that 7-day-a-week schedule. So every day of the week, and you could hear about fishing and kayak fishing on Paddle and Fin, man. So we're stoked to have you, brother. Any final thoughts or anything like that, man? I mean, I didn't want to make this like super long and drawn out, but like I figured this would be a good way to introduce you to the Paddle and Fin family and introduce your audience into what you're doing new, man.
And I appreciate it once again. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate all you guys doing in Paddle and Fin. And I'm here to work hard, like I've done in my podcast, and help the sport grow, help Paddle and Fin grow. And each one of us grow personally when it comes to kayak fishing.
For sure.
We have an old saying in Spanish, which I can't even begin to translate it in English, but it's pretty much like, iron with iron, just, I don't know, I forgot how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You probably edited that part out.
I like it.
It's, it's one of the things where, you can only get better when you surround yourself with the right people.
For sure. Totally.
And that's what I meant by that old Spanish proverb. When you surround yourself with the right people, you only get better. So, man, thanks again. Appreciate it. I'm excited, stoked about it.
Woo-woo.
For those that follow me on social media, the only thing it's gonna change is when I promote an episode. When you hit that hyperlink, it's gonna take you to Paddle and Fin and to my episode. So that's pretty much it.
I love it. Love it.
Awesome, man. Final words, final thoughts. That's it.
Final thoughts. Let's rock out with our fishing rods out.
Sounding good. And wear your PFDs, for the love of God.
Oh yeah.
These people do.
Always. As I always say, tight lines and smooth paddling. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. TRC Covers, protect your investment. Ketch Products, shout out to Ketch Products. Go to ketchproducts.com and put the Paddle and Fin logo directly on your catch board. Shout out to JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com, use promo code PNF20 and save 20% on all your jig and tackle needs.